Her phone lit up at 2 a.m. The name on the screen wasn't mine. It was his. That was the moment I knew my marriage was a lie. If this story moves you, don't forget to drop a comment, and subscribe to Revenge Forge for more unforgettable stories that speak to the heart. I'm Colin McRae, 47, a senior marketing director at a mid-sized tech firm in Seattle. Life was good, or so I thought. A waterfront condo with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Puget Sound. A corner office with a view of the Space Needle. A seven-figure portfolio built from years of grinding in the tech world, where my campaigns pulled in 50 times my salary for the company. Monica, my wife of 12 years, was the cherry on top. At 35, she was sharp, charming, and the kind of woman who could light up a room. We met at a tech conference in Vegas, her pitching a startup, me closing a deal. Sparks flew. 2 years later, we were married, promising forever under a canopy of stars at a vineyard in Napa. Our life looked perfect. Weekend brunches at Pike Place. Her laughter echoing through our condo as we cooked dinner together. The way she'd curl into me on the couch, her head on my chest as we binged some new series. I'd built a life I was proud of, a life any man would kill for. But perfection is a fragile thing. One crack and it all shatters. It started small. 6 months ago, Monica's late nights at the office became routine. She was a project manager at a rival tech firm, always chasing the next deadline. Just a big client pitch, Colin, she'd say, her hazel eyes soft but distant. You know how it is. I did. I'd been there burning midnight oil to land a $20 million campaign. So I didn't push. I trusted her. That was my first mistake. Then the habits changed. She stopped wearing her wedding ring to work. It gets in the way during presentations, she said, twirling a strand of her chestnut hair. I bought it. She started locking her phone, something she'd never done in 12 years. Privacy, Colin. You don't need to see my work emails. Fair enough, I thought. But the late-night texts, the ones she'd angle away from me to read, those weren't work. I felt it in my gut. The real crack came 3 weeks ago. I just returned from a 10-day conference in San Francisco, keynote speaker, standing ovation, another $15 million deal closed for the company. Exhausted but riding high, I got home at 9 p.m. The condo was dark. Monica wasn't there. Her car was in the garage, but no note, no text. Odd, but not alarming. I figured she was at a happy hour with her team. I poured a whiskey, sat on the balcony, and waited. At 11 p.m., her Audi pulled into the garage. She walked in heels, clicking, her face flushed. Long day, she muttered, avoiding my eyes. She smelled like wine and something else, cologne, sharp and unfamiliar. Client dinner? I asked, keeping my tone light. Yeah, she said, too quick, already halfway to the bedroom. I'm beat. Night, Colin. No kiss, no hug. Just the click of the bedroom door. That night I couldn't sleep. Her phone buzzed on the nightstand once, twice, 3 times. I glanced over. She was out cold, her breathing soft. The screen glowed, Justin C. My stomach twisted. Justin Candler, 48, her old mentor from her first job out of college. He'd been at our wedding, all smiles, calling me the luckiest guy alive. Now his name was lighting up her phone at 2 a.m. I didn't touch it. Not yet. But the seed was planted. The next morning I played it cool. Made her coffee, kissed her forehead, acted like nothing was wrong. Big day at the office, I asked. She nodded, distracted, scrolling her phone. Yeah, tons to do. Justin's helping with a pitch. There it was, his name, casual, like it was nothing. I smiled, but my mind was racing. Justin Candler. Divorced, charming, and now a VP at her firm. Too close for comfort. Over the next week I watched her like a hawk. Not out of paranoia, but survival. The signs piled up. She'd leave the room to take calls. Her laptop, once left open on the kitchen counter, was now password protected. She started dressing sharper, new heels, tighter dresses, perfume I didn't recognize. For the clients, she said. But clients don't text at midnight. I'm not a fool. I've closed deals with sharks who'd sell their own kids for a profit. I know when someone's playing me. So I started digging. Discreetly. First her laptop. She'd left it on the coffee table one night, still logged in a rare slip. I opened her email. Nothing obvious, just work stuff. Then I checked her cloud drive. That's where I found it, a folder labeled Misc, inside photos. Not of us. Of her and Justin. Dinner at Canlis, her hand on his arm. A selfie in a hotel bar, his lips brushing her cheek. Timestamp 2 nights ago when she'd told me she was stuck at the office. My chest tightened. I wanted to smash the screen, but I didn't. I took screenshots, saved them to a USB, and closed the laptop. Evidence first, emotions later. That's how I operate. The next clue came from her best friend, Lauren Parker. Lauren, 34, was Monica's confidant since college. Always at our place, always laughing too loud. I never liked her, but I tolerated her for Monica. That Friday, I overheard them in the kitchen while I was in the study. Lauren's voice was low, conspiratorial. "You sure about this, Mon? Colin's not stupid. He'll figure it out." Monica laughed, sharp, dismissive. "He's too busy closing deals to notice. Besides, Justin's got my back." My blood ran cold. I stayed silent, ear pressed to the door. Lauren again. "Just be careful. If he finds out before you're ready." Monica cut her off. "He won't. I've got this under control." Control. That word stuck with me. She thought she was running the show. She thought I was blind. She was wrong. I installed a smart home system a year ago, cameras, motion sensors, the works. Monica hated it, called it overkill. But it was my house, my money, my rules. Now it was my lifeline. I logged into the system from my office the next day. The footage was crystal clear. Monica and Justin in our living room 2 nights ago. Her on the couch, him pouring wine, her laughing as he leaned in too close. No audio, but their body language screamed everything. I saved the clips, timestamped to a secure drive. Then came the bank accounts. We had a joint account for shared expenses, $25,000, nothing crazy. I checked the balance online. It was down to $5,000. Withdrawals all in the last month, all to an account I didn't recognize. I called our financial advisor, Tom Bennett, a guy I'd known since business school. "Colin," he said, voice grim, "she's been moving money to a private account. Looks like she's planning something, like bleeding me dry." I didn't confront her, not yet. Confrontation without leverage is weakness, and I'm not weak. Instead, I called my lawyer, Greg Sullivan. Greg's 50, a bulldog in a suit, and he doesn't lose. I sent him the screenshots, the footage, the bank records. "Build me an airtight case," I told him. "I want her to have nothing." He didn't flinch. Done. The final twist hit at our company's annual gala, a black tie event at the Four Seasons. Monica was there, stunning in a red dress, working the room like a pro. I watched her from across the ballroom, my whiskey untouched. Justin was there too, hovering his hand, grazing her back when he thought no one was looking. But I was. And so was Lauren, who shot me a nervous glance before looking away. That's when I saw it. Monica's phone left on the table while she danced with Justin. I didn't hesitate. I grabbed it, slipped into the hallway, and checked her messages. The texts were a gut punch. "Justin to Monica, 3 a.m. last night. You sure he's clueless?" Her reply. "Colin's too wrapped up in his deals. We're good." Then a bombshell. "Lauren to Monica this morning. You're really going through with it. Divorcing him at the gala. That's cold." Monica's response. "He deserves it. I'm done playing the good wife." I stood there, the hum of the gala fading. My wife wasn't just cheating. She was plotting to humiliate me, to serve me divorce papers in front of my colleagues, my clients, my world. And Justin Candler, the man who toasted my happiness at our wedding, was in on it. I could have stormed back in, made a scene, ruined her night. But that's not me. I'm Colin McRae. I don't break, I build. And I was building a revenge story that would leave her with nothing but regret. The next morning, I met Greg at his office. He laid out the plan: freeze the joint accounts file for divorce first, and hit her with the evidence. "She won't see it coming," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. Inside were the papers ready to serve. I nodded. "Do it." That night, Monica came home late again. She didn't notice the envelope on the kitchen counter addressed to her. She didn't see the USB drive next to it labeled Truth. She didn't know I'd already spoken to her father, Richard Hayes, a retired accountant who'd always liked me. I'd sent him the evidence. His voice on the phone was heavy. "Colin, I'm sorry. I didn't raise her to be like this. I didn't need his apology. I needed his silence. He gave it. The gala was 2 days away. Monica thought she was in control, planning her big moment. She didn't know I was 3 steps ahead, ready to flip the script. This wasn't just about divorce. It was about showing her who she'd underestimated. The man she thought was clueless was about to rewrite her ending. The morning of the gala felt like the calm before a storm. Seattle's skyline glittered through the condo's windows, but the air inside was thick with tension only I could feel. Monica was in the shower humming some tune, oblivious to the envelope on the counter. I sipped my coffee, black, no sugar, and stared at the USB drive labeled Truth. It held everything: screenshots, footage, bank records, a digital guillotine ready to drop. But I wasn't done building my case. Not yet. I left for the office early, my briefcase heavier with purpose than papers. My tech firm's headquarters, a sleek glass tower in Belltown, was buzzing with pre-gala prep. I nodded at colleagues, flashed a smile, kept it together. Inside, I was a coiled spring. My assistant, Sarah Coleman, 29, handed me a stack of contracts. "Big night tonight, Colin," she said, her eyes bright. "You're the star of the show." I forced a grin. Just another day. She didn't know the real show was about to start. I spent the morning tying up loose ends. First, I called Tom Bennett, my financial advisor. "Lock down my personal accounts," I told him. "Everything, savings, investments, the works." He didn't ask questions. He'd seen the bank records. I'd sent the $20,000 drained from our joint account. "Already done," he said. "She can't touch a dime." Next, I checked in with Greg Sullivan, my lawyer. The divorce papers were ready, but I'd told him to hold off serving them until I gave the word. Timing was everything. Monica wanted to blindside me at the gala. I'd turn her game against her. By noon, I had a new lead. Sarah, always observant, mentioned something odd. "Monica stopped by last week while you were in San Francisco," she said, sorting files. "Said she needed to grab some marketing reports from your office." My office. I never kept reports there. "Did she take anything?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. Sarah frowned. "Not sure. She was in and out in 5 minutes." My gut churned. Monica wasn't just cheating, she was digging into my world, looking for leverage. I checked my office, a corner suite with a view of Elliott Bay. Everything seemed in place: files, laptop awards on the shelf. But something felt off. I opened my desk drawer, the one I kept locked. It was still locked, but the key felt looser, like it had been tampered with. Inside a USB drive I didn't recognize. I plugged it into my laptop using a sandboxed VM to avoid any traps. The drive had one file, a spreadsheet titled McCrae Assets. It listed everything: my stock portfolio, my 401k, even my offshore account in the Caymans, the one I'd never told Monica about. Estimated total $2.3 million. At the bottom, a note in Monica's handwriting scanned into the file enough to start over. My blood ran cold. She wasn't just planning a divorce. She was planning to gut me. The offshore account was my safety net, set up years ago after a bad deal nearly tanked my career. Only Tom knew about it. How the hell did she find it? I called him immediately. "Tom, who accessed my Cayman account?" His voice was tight. "No one, Colin." "But Monica called last month, said you'd authorized her to review your portfolio. I didn't give her details, but she had your account number." I cursed under my breath. She'd played him just like she was playing me. I copied the spreadsheet to my secure drive and wiped the USB. Monica thought she had the upper hand, but she'd just handed me another piece of evidence. I wasn't just fighting for my marriage, now I was fighting for my life's work. That afternoon, I dug deeper. I logged into the smart home system again, pulling footage from the last month. One clip, timestamped 2 weeks ago, stopped me cold. Monica and Lauren in our living room, wine glasses in hand, laughing. Lauren leaned in, voice low but clear on the audio. "Justin's all in, right? He's not gonna flake?" Monica smirked, swirling her wine. "He's been in love with me since college. He'll do whatever I say." My jaw clenched. Justin Candler, the man I'd shared beers with at our engagement party, was her pawn, and I was the fool. But the footage got worse. Monica stood, pacing, her voice sharp. "Colin's too predictable. Work, gym, sleep. He'll never see it coming. Once I file, Justin's lawyer will bury him. We'll take the condo. The account's everything." Lauren hesitated. "What if he fights back? He's not some pushover." Monica's laugh was ice. "He won't. He loves me too much." I paused the video, her face frozen on the screen, that smug smile burning into me. She thought love made me weak. She was about to learn how wrong she was. I needed more. I called an old friend, Ethan Walsh, 46, a private investigator I'd hired years ago to vet a shady client. Ethan was discreet, ruthless, and owed me a favor. "Follow Justin Candler," I said. "I need everything: where he goes, who he meets, what he's hiding." Ethan didn't ask why. Give me 24 hours, he said. I hung up, feeling the first spark of control. The gala was at 7 p.m. I got home at 5, Monica already in the bedroom getting ready. She emerged in that red dress, her hair swept up, diamonds sparkling at her throat. You look good, I said, meaning it despite everything. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Thanks. Big night for you, right? Her tone was too sweet, like she was rehearsing. I nodded, adjusting my cufflinks. Big night for both of us. We drove to the Four Seasons in silence, the city lights blurring past. My mind was on the envelope in my briefcase, the USB drive in my pocket, and Ethan's text from an hour ago. Got something on Candler. Call me before the gala. I hadn't had time, but I trusted Ethan to deliver. Monica stared out the window, her fingers tapping her clutch. Nervous. Good. The ballroom was a sea of tuxedos and gowns, chandeliers casting golden light. My team was there, Sarah, my VP, Mark Reynolds, 52, and a dozen others. Clients mingled, deals were whispered, champagne flowed. Monica worked the room, her laugh cutting through the noise. Justin was at her side, his hand brushing her arm, his smirk aimed at me across the crowd. I kept my face neutral, shaking hands, closing small talk with a smile. Inside, I was counting down. Ethan called during a break. I stepped onto the terrace, the city's hum drowning out the gala. Candler's dirty, Ethan said. He's been skimming from his firm's client accounts. Small amounts, but it adds up $150,000 over 2 years. Got bank records, emails, the works. He's using Monica to cover his tracks, promising her a cut. I gripped the railing, the metal cold under my palms. She know about this? Ethan paused. Not sure, but she's in deep. They've been meeting at a condo he rents downtown. Got photos. He sent them to my phone, Monica and Justin arm in arm entering a building on 2nd Avenue. Time-stamped last night. The twist hit like a freight train. Justin wasn't just her lover, he was using her just like she was using me. But there was more. Ethan's voice dropped. One more thing. Lauren's not just Monica's friend. She's Justin's cousin. They've been working together since day one. My mind reeled. Lauren, the loudmouth I'd tolerated for years, was family to Justin. The betrayal wasn't just Monica's. It was a network, a trap, and I'd been the mark all along. I hung up, my pulse steady but my mind racing. This wasn't just a revenge story anymore. It was a chess game, and I was about to checkmate. I slipped back into the gala, catching Monica's eye. She was dancing with Justin, her head thrown back, laughing. I smiled, raised my glass. She thought she was winning. She had no idea. I found Mark Reynolds by the bar. Mark, a grizzled vet who'd seen it all, was my mentor when I started at the firm. I trusted him. Mark, I said, voice low, I need a favor. I handed him the USB drive. If anything goes south tonight, get this to Greg Sullivan. He raised an eyebrow, but took it, no questions asked. You okay, Colin? I nodded. Better than ever. The first twist came at 9 p.m. Monica excused herself to the restroom. I followed, not to confront her, but to watch. She met Lauren in the hallway, their heads bent together, whispering. I caught fragments tonight. Papers. Make it quick. Lauren glanced around, nervous, and saw me. Her face paled. I nodded like I hadn't heard a thing and walked past. Let them sweat. The second twist hit 30 minutes later. My phone buzzed, a text from Sarah. Check your email. Urgent. I stepped into a quiet corner and opened it. Sarah had sent a forwarded message from Monica's work email, accidentally CC'd to my account during a team thread. It was to Justin, sent this morning. Colin's speech is at 10. Serve the papers right after. He'll be too stunned to react. Attached was a draft of divorce papers naming me as the at-fault party for emotional neglect. The audacity made my skin crawl. She wasn't just leaving me, she was framing me to take everything. I forwarded the email to Greg, my fingers steady. Add this to the file, I texted. His reply was instant, she's done, but I wasn't. I had one more card to play. At 9:45, I took the stage for my speech. The room hushed, 200 pairs of eyes on me. Monica stood near the front, her smile tight, Justin at her side. I scanned the crowd, my voice calm but firm. Tonight's about trust, I began. Trust in our work, our partners, our future. I paused, locking eyes with Monica. But trust once broken can't be rebuilt. Her smile faltered. Justin shifted, uneasy. The room didn't notice, but they did. I finished my speech to applause, stepped down and headed for the bar. Monica followed her heels, clicking fast. "Colin, can we talk?" she asked, her voice low, urgent. I turned my face a mask. "Sure." Outside. We stepped onto the terrace, the city lights cold and sharp. She started talking, her words rehearsed. "I've been thinking. Maybe we need a break." Before she could finish, a man in a suit approached Greg's process server. He handed her the envelope. "Monica McCrae, you've been served." Her face froze, her fingers trembling as she opened it. Divorce papers, my filing with a cover letter summarizing the evidence, her text, the footage, the bank transfers, Justin's embezzlement. She looked up, eyes wide. "Colin, what is this?" I leaned in, my voice low, steel. "You thought you could play me. You thought wrong." She stammered, but I wasn't done. "Justin's using you," I said. "He's been skimming from your firm. You're his cover, Monica. And Lauren, his cousin. They've been laughing at you, too." Her mouth opened, but no words came. For the first time, she looked small, exposed, like a deer in headlights. I walked away, leaving her with the papers, the truth sinking in. Back inside, Justin was gone. Lauren, too. The gala went on oblivious, but I felt the shift. The board was mine now. The next morning, I got a call from Richard Hayes, Monica's father. He'd seen the evidence I'd sent. "I'm cutting her off," he said, voice heavy. "She's my daughter, but this is too far." I didn't gloat. I didn't need to. Richard was a good man caught in her mess. I thanked him and hung up. By noon, Ethan had more. Justin had fled to his condo downtown, but his firm was already auditing his accounts. He'd be out of a job by Monday. Monica was alone, holed up in a hotel, her plans in ruins. I didn't call her. I didn't text. I packed a bag, booked a flight to a small coastal town in Oregon, and left the condo behind. The sale was already in motion, $1.2 million clean profit. I'd start fresh, no baggage, no regrets. But there was one last twist. That afternoon, Sarah called. "Colin, you need to see this." She sent me a video pulled from a company server. It was Monica in my office last week, rifling through my desk. But she wasn't alone. Mark Reynolds was with her, pointing out where I kept my keys. My mentor, the man I'd trusted, was in on it. He'd been feeding her information, helping her build her case. My stomach dropped. The USB drive in my drawer, Mark's doing. He'd played both sides, hedging his bets. I called Greg immediately. "Add Mark to the file," I said. "He's complicit." Greg didn't flinch. "I'll bury him too." I hung up, staring at the ocean beyond my hotel window. The betrayal cut deeper than Monica's. Mark had been family, or so I thought. But family doesn't sell you out. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. The evidence was enough. By Monday, Mark would face an internal review, his career in tatters. Monica would face her own reckoning, alone, broke and exposed. Justin was already running, and me, I was free, standing on a cliff overlooking the Pacific, the wind cold but clean. The game was over. I'd won. But a question lingered, one I couldn't shake. Had I missed something bigger? Mark's betrayal felt too easy, too convenient. Was there another layer, another player I hadn't seen? I pushed the thought aside, but it clung like salt in the air. The Oregon coast stretched out before me, gray waves crashing against jagged cliffs. I'd been in Cannon Beach for a week, renting a small cottage with a view of Haystack Rock. The salty air cleared my head, but the question from that night at the gala gnawed at me. Mark's betrayal felt too neat, like a puzzle piece forced into place. I'd won the battle Monica served. Justin exposed, accounts frozen, but something told me the war wasn't over. My gut, honed by years of reading boardrooms and closing deals, screamed there was more. I spent my days walking the shore, the sand cold under my boots, piecing it together. Monica's plan was bold, but sloppy, too sloppy for someone as sharp as her. Justin's embezzlement was a lucky break for me, but how had Ethan, my PI, found it so fast, and Mark, my mentor, turning traitor? It didn't add up. He'd built me up, vouched for me when I was a nobody. Why risk his career to help Monica? I needed answers, and I wasn't going back to Seattle until I had them. My phone buzzed on the cottage's wooden table. Ethan Walsh. "Got something new," he said, his voice low, like he was dodging eavesdroppers. "Meet me in Portland tomorrow. Noon, Powell's Books mystery section. Bring cash." I didn't ask why. Ethan didn't play games. I packed a bag, left the cottage, and drove the hour to Portland, the coastal fog giving way to city sprawl. Powell's was a maze of shelves, the air thick with the smell of old paper. Ethan was waiting in a corner, his leather jacket blending with the shadows. He slid a manila envelope across a table stacked with noir novels. "This cost me a favor," he said. "Don't waste it." Inside were documents, bank statements, emails, and a grainy photo of Mark Reynolds meeting a man I didn't recognize in a parking garage. The timestamp 3 months ago, before Monica's late night started. Ethan leaned in. "That's Victor Hayes, Monica's older brother." My pulse spiked. Victor Hayes, 40, a corporate lawyer in Chicago. I'd met him twice, once at our wedding, once at a family dinner. Quiet guy, sharp eyes, always watching. Monica said they weren't close, but the photo told a different story. "What's Victor got to do with this?" I asked. Ethan's jaw tightened. "He's the puppet master. Mark wasn't helping Monica. He was helping Victor. They've been planning this for a year." The twist hit like a sucker punch. Victor, not Monica, was the architect. The documents laid it out. Victor had been funneling money from Monica's private account, the one she'd drained from our joint funds, to a shell company he controlled. The spreadsheet in my desk. Victor's work planted by Mark to throw me off. Justin's embezzlement. A distraction orchestrated by Victor to make Justin the fall guy. Monica wasn't the mastermind, she was a pawn just like me. Why, I asked, my voice steady but my mind racing. Ethan shrugged. "Money, revenge, both. Victor's firm took a hit last year, bad deal, lost $500,000. He blames you." Me, I racked my brain. Then it clicked. 2 years ago, I'd outbid Victor's client on a software patent, a $10 million deal that tanked his bonus. He'd smiled at me over dinner that Christmas, all charm, but now I saw the truth. He'd been plotting ever since, using Monica to get to me. The emails confirmed it. Victor to Mark 6 months ago. "Keep Colin distracted. Monica will handle the rest." Mark to Victor. "He trusts me. This'll be easy." Monica wasn't in on the full plan. She thought she was running the show with Justin. But Victor was pulling her strings, feeding her lies about my neglect to fuel her affair. Lauren, Justin's cousin, was Victor's eyes on the ground, reporting back to him. The whole thing was a machine built to strip me of everything: my money, my marriage, my reputation. I leaned back, the weight of it sinking in. "Why Mark?" I asked. Ethan flipped to another page, bank records showing $50,000 wired to Mark's account from Victor's shell company. "He's broke," Ethan said. "Gambling debts. Victor bought him. My mentor, the man who'd taught me to play hardball, sold me out for pocket change. I paid." Ethan slipped the envelope into my jacket and left Powell's. The city felt sharper now, every shadow a threat. I wasn't just fighting Monica anymore. Victor was the real enemy, and he was still out there thinking he'd won. "But I'm Colin McRae. I don't lose." Back in Cannon Beach, I called Greg Sullivan. "We're expanding the case," I said, forwarding Ethan's documents. "Victor Hayes is the target. Nail him." Greg didn't flinch. "This is Big Colin. Fraud, conspiracy, maybe racketeering. You sure you want to go there?" I stared at the ocean, the waves relentless. "I'm sure." The next twist came 2 days later. I was at a coffee shop in town working through emails when Monica called. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity won. Her voice was shaky, not the confident tone I knew. "Colin, we need to talk. In person." I kept my tone flat. Why? She hesitated. "I didn't know about Victor. He used me. Please just meet me." I didn't trust her, but I needed to see her play. "Fine. Tomorrow, Seattle. Neutral ground. The cafe on Pike Street, 10 a.m. I arrived early, choosing a corner table with a clear view of the door. Monica walked in at 10 sharp, no makeup. Her hair pulled back, looking like she hadn't slept in days. She sat clutching a coffee, her eyes darting. "I didn't know," she started, voice low. "Victor told me you were hiding money, cheating on me. He said the divorce was my way out." I leaned back, arms crossed. "You believed him over me." She flinched. "He's my brother. And Justin." He made it sound so real. She didn't know about Justin's embezzlement or Victor's shell company. Victor had fed her a story, played on her insecurities, and she'd bought it. "I found your offshore account," she said. "Victor showed me the records. Said you were planning to leave me broke." I almost laughed. Victor had fabricated those records just like he'd planted the spreadsheet. Monica wasn't innocent, but she wasn't the mastermind either. She was a tool, and now she was breaking. "Why tell me now?" I asked. Her eyes welled up. "Because I saw the papers you served. The evidence. I confronted Victor and he laughed. Said I was collateral damage. I'm done, Colin. I'm done being used. I studied her. She was telling the truth or part of it. But trust was a burned bridge. What do you want? I asked. She swallowed. A chance to make it right. I'll testify against Victor. I didn't respond. I stood left a $20 bill on the table and walked out. Monica's tears didn't move me. Her betrayal was still hers, even if Victor pulled the strings. But her offer was leverage, and I'd use it. Greg was already building the case against Victor. Monica's testimony would seal it, but I needed more. I called Ethan again. Dig into Victor's firm, I said. Client steals anything dirty. Ethan delivered 48 hours later. Victor's law firm was knee-deep in shady deals, money laundering for a tech startup hidden in client trusts. Ethan had emails linking Victor to the CEO, a guy named Paul Decker, 45, a slick operator I'd crossed paths with years ago. Paul had been at the gala shaking hands with Justin, another thread in the web. I didn't stop there. I reached out to Sarah, who'd been quietly feeding me intel. Check Mark's emails, I told her. Anything tied to Victor or Paul Decker. She came through that night forwarding a chain between Mark and Paul. Mark had been promised a board seat at Paul's startup if he helped Victor sink me. The price, my patent deal from 2 years ago, the one that cost Victor his bonus. They'd planned to sell it to a competitor for $15 million, splitting the profits. My marriage, my career, my life, it was all collateral in their revenge story. The final twist hit when I got a call from Richard Hayes, Monica's father. He was in Seattle unannounced, staying at a hotel downtown. I need to see you, he said, voice heavy. I met him at his suite, a modest room overlooking the harbor. Richard, 68, looked older than I remembered, his face lined with regret. I didn't know about Victor, he said, pouring me a scotch. He's always been ambitious, but this... He trailed off, handing me a folder. Inside were account statements, Victor's, not mine. He'd been siphoning money from Richard's retirement fund, $200,000 over 2 years, to finance his shell company. I'm cutting him off, Richard said. And I'm giving you this. He slid another document across the table, a signed affidavit detailing Victor's manipulation of Monica and his financial crimes. I can't undo what she did, he said, but I can help you bury him. I nodded, taking the folder. Richard wasn't just a father cleaning up his kid's mess. He was a man who valued honor. I respected that. With Monica's testimony, Richard's affidavit, and Ethan's evidence, Greg had enough to destroy Victor. We filed a civil suit for fraud and conspiracy, naming Victor, Mark, and Paul Decker. The criminal charges would follow: money laundering, embezzlement, the works. Greg estimated Victor's exposure at $3 million plus jail time. Mark was already suspended, his board seat dreams dead. Paul's startup was under investigation, its stock tanking. Monica reached out again, this time by email. A single line. I'm sorry, Colin. I know it's too late. I didn't reply. She'd moved into a studio apartment, her career stalled, her allies gone. Justin had vanished, likely hiding from his firm's auditors. Lauren was radio silent, probably licking her wounds. The web they'd woven had collapsed, and I was the only one standing. I sold the condo for $1.3 million, pocketing a clean profit. The tech firm promoted me to chief marketing officer, a $500,000 a year role with stock options. I didn't celebrate. I didn't need to. Success was my answer, not vengeance. I bought a small house in Cannon Beach, white clapboard, with a porch facing the sea. Mornings I'd brew coffee, walk the shore, and let the waves drown out the past. I started cooking again, simple stuff, grilled fish, fresh herbs from a garden I planted. Life felt lighter, cleaner. One evening at a local marketing conference, I met Claire Donovan, 42, a data analyst with a sharp mind and a quiet smile. She'd read one of my old white papers, asked a question that caught me off guard. We talked for hours, not about love or pain, but about ideas, trends, algorithms, the future. It wasn't a spark, not yet. Just a connection, unforced, real. I didn't push. I'd learned my lesson: trust isn't built in a day. Victor's trial was set for next month. Monica would testify, her deal with the DA keeping her out of jail. Mark took a plea, ratting out Paul to save his skin. The machine was dismantled piece by piece. But that question from the gala still lingered. Had I missed something? Victor's ambition, Mark's betrayal, Monica's affair. It all felt too orchestrated, like there was a bigger player I hadn't seen. Or maybe that was just the scar of betrayal, making me question everything. I stood on my porch one night, the ocean roaring, a glass of bourbon in my hand. The stars were sharp, cutting through the dark. I'd torn down their plan, rebuilt my life, and walked away stronger. But was it enough? Did I owe myself more closure, forgiveness, or something else I didn't know? Maybe I never would. What would you have done? Walked away clean like me, or burned it all down? Like what you heard, hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to Revenge Forge, because the next story might just be your favorite one yet.